Hey everybody, Mr. Morel here, and today in this video we're going to take the last lesson and we're going to up it a little bit. So the last lesson was about solving like really simple, straightforward, basic two-step equations. Hopefully by the end of this video you're going to know how to solve like any two-step equations, even those that have two variables in them, which can feel a little bit scary, but we've got it. We laid a lot of good groundwork last video. It's going to help us with this video as we move forward. So let's go ahead and jump into the first example. The first two examples will be pretty simple. Then we're going to make it a little more complicated. All right, so in this first example, we're going to solve for x. We have negative in front of a fraction, so negative 2x over 3 equals 10. All right, so what we're going to do is anytime we know that we're solving for a variable and it only shows up once, I know I need to label my chore chart. Now, just a quick reminder, the chore chart is going to be a way for us to read an equation so that when we solve it, we can do the opposite stuff backwards. That's what solving is. Solving is doing opposite steps backwards. And so I know I'm solving for x. I only see one x available, so I've labeled it. Now, we saw, whoa, I just had a moment. We saw in the last video that if you have a negative in front of a fraction, you can either move it up to the top or down to the bottom. It really doesn't matter which in this specific example. So let's just put it down to the bottom because that's usually what we did in the past. All right, so 2x over negative 3. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to read this starting with x. We're going to say the operations we see happening, and we're going to write them as we go. So remember, anytime there's a number and a letter together, that's like invisible multiplication. So starting with the x, I guess we're going to have a squeaky video. All right, starting with the x, it's going to be x times 2. Then this line means to divide. So x times 2 divided by negative 3. Now, in our last video and in class, we've been talking about how we can imagine this is a chore chart. It's a list of chores your parents are asking you to do, but you're these, punk, rebellious kids. And so rather than doing the chores, you're going to actually do the opposite of what they've asked you to do from the bottom up. Bottoms up, if you have my class. So divided by negative 3, we're going to do the opposite operation. That's how you solve. So we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by negative 3. Now, we could really get into details here that like when we multiply by negative 3, this is going to become negative 6x divided by negative 3, which negative 6x divided by negative 3 simplifies to 2x. Another way that most people are going to kind of think about it is this idea that these negative 3's are going to cancel out. They're going to divide to equal 1, however you want to think about it so you can sleep at night. And we're going to have 2x equals 10 times negative 3 is negative 30. Cool. Okay, next chore says times by 2. I can see that happening right here. Oh, I should have changed colors. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. And that's going to leave me with x equals negative 15. So I'm claiming that x equals negative 15 is the solution, the only solution to this equation. And I'm going to prove it by checking my answers. So let me just get rid of some of this writing so that we can check our work. Oh, there was a minus sign there that I just deleted. We'll put it back in. And let's get rid of this dot. Oh, the joys. Okay. Now, well, heck, while I wrote this down, let's move this negative down. When there's a negative in front of a fraction, it either goes on top or on the bottom, but not with both. And I'm going to substitute this negative 15 up here with the x, or in for the x. So we're going to have 2 times 15. I'm going to use parentheses. That's kind of common when there's a coefficient there. So use parentheses divided by negative 3. And that should equal 10, we hope. Wow, my handwriting is amazing. Okay, 2 times 15 is going to be 30 divided by negative 3, which should equal, oh, no, wait. Oh, negative 15. Oh, man, even I make mistakes. So 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. Negative 30 divided by negative 3 should equal 10. And if you double check, oh, my writing, it is amazing. I hope you remember this video for my beautiful writing. 10 does equal 10, so I know I have the right answer over here. X equals 15. Okay, I know I kind of went through that pretty quickly. This is a lot like the last video. There were two operations here. So hopefully that was helpful. All right, let's go to the next question. Now in this one, there's a couple different ways to solve it, but I'm going to try to keep it simple for you guys. I see parentheses, and the first thing I think about is my Santa hat. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my Santa hat, remembering that when Santa comes, he multiplies the joy of all the girls and boys in the house, yada, yada. Okay, so 2 times x is 2x. I'm just trying to rewrite this question. Plus 2 times 3 is 6 equals 6. Now that I got rid of those parentheses, it's a little easier to do our chore chart here. So I'm going to go ahead and label x. Let's practice reading from the x. X times 2 plus 6 equals 6. We're going to do the opposite stuff backwards. Sorry, I have an itch on my nose, which means we need to start by subtracting both sides of this equation by 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. Now here's kind of the reason why I chose this example is it's really common for some people to forget to show that this side of the equation, this room over here, is empty. It's important to say that 2x equals 0. 6 minus 6 is 0. 0 is a real number. It has feelings. Don't forget about them. Okay, so we're going to keep on going through our list. We're doing good so far. Now, the opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide by 2. Remember, in an equation, we usually use kind of the fraction-looking division more than anything else. 2x divided by 2 is just x equals, now people just freak out about a 0. I don't really know why zeros are so scary, but use your calculator to double check. 0 divided by 2 is 0. It's not undefined. That's a real number. It exists. It's a thing. So I'm telling you, I think the answer is x equals 0. But let's go back to the original equation and double check. I'm going to substitute a 0 in for the x. So 2 times 0, wow, that's a parentheses. It looks so good. Plus 3 equals 6. Now, order of operations tells me to simplify the stuff inside first. 0 plus 3 is 3. Parentheses are going to mean to multiply. We'll do that here in a second. Equals 6. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 equals 6. We found the magical number that makes this equation true. And so our answer was x equals 0. It is true. I believe in math. It's beautiful. All right, those were our two pretty simple examples. And then things are going to get a little bit tougher here. So the main part of this homework assignment is the idea of what happens if you have two x's or two y's or two z's in an equation. Well, let's keep rolling with our chore chart idea. And in class, I kind of give the example like, okay, this x right here represents you, right? And this parent is asking you to multiply by 2. Let's say the mom is asking you to multiply by 2. And dad over here is asking you to multiply by 5. It's really complicated when you have two x's. That's kind of like two parents giving you two different sets of things to do. And usually teenagers like extra rebel into that. They kind of freak out. And so whenever we see two x's, before I label my chore chart, we've got to get it down to 1x. In class, I talk about you've got to get your parents to agree on what they want you to do. Okay. And also in class, I kind of talk about how we have two different rooms. Here's one room, here's another room. In this example, mom and dad are in the same room. They just need to talk to each other. They need to come together. They need to combine. So we could just ask ourselves, how much is 2x minus 5x? Or for those of you that this is more helpful, how much is 2x and negative 5x together? Let's get mom and dad talking. They're in the same room. Everything's happy. Well, 2x and negative 5x is negative 3x equals 6. Now that there's only one x, we can make our chart. Mom and dad came together. They agreed on what we needed to do, and we're going to do it. So x is being multiplied by negative 3. We hit the equation, and we stop, or the equal sign. So only one chore to do now. So x is being multiplied by negative 3. So the only thing we have to do is divide both sides by negative 3. These cancel out, and we're left with x equals negative 2. So in theory, x equals -2 should be the answer to this equation. We're going to go back to the original equation and double check. So I'm going to replace my x's with -2. So essentially we're going to have 2 times, you could use parentheses or a dot, whatever you like, -2 minus 5 times -2. And that should equal 6. Okay, it's looking a little shady. Let's see. 2 times -2 is -4. Minus 5 times -2 is -10. Now, way back in the first unit, we kind of talked about subtracting a negative. This can be tricky. Use a calculator if you need. Or something else we talked about is that subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. So a -4 and a +10 does equal 6. 6 equals 6. We found the magical x number that makes that equation true. So our answer was x equals -2. We did it. Oh, we're so good. Okay, so when x's or when your variables are on the same side of the equation, you're going to treat that kind of like an expression and combine like terms. When they're on the same side, mom and dad are in the same room, they can still communicate. You just put them together. Our next example kind of looks at what happens if they're in different rooms, okay? I kind of use the example, mom and dad have been fighting so much that they can't even stand being in the same room together. Mom is over here. She's asking you to multiply by 2. Dad is over here in the other room. He wants you to multiply by 5 and add 6. But you're not going to do anything until they agree. There's only one x. You can't do a chore chart till there's only one x. So our first goal is let's get the x's on the same side. I say that mom and dad are in different rooms. We've got to move them into the same room. Okay? So you totally get to choose. And I'm going to do this both ways so you can see kind of the pros and cons of both. Do you want to move mom in the other room or do you want to move dad? In this first example, we're going to move dad. Okay? So to move a parent into the other room, you need to remember, here's, again, continuing with a silly example, they're in a fight, so they're in different rooms. So to get them in the same room, somebody's going to have a change of heart. If dad charges in here and talks to mom again, it's going to be bad. They're just going to fight and go back into their own rooms. Dad needs to have a change of heart before he goes and talks to mom. Currently, dad is a positive 5x. If he's going into the other room, he needs to have a change of heart. He's going to change his sign, and we're going to subtract 5x from both sides of the equation. Oh, I did that really terribly. 5x, okay? Kind of this change of heart idea. He's a positive before. We're going to subtract 5x so he can go in the other room, and they can get along well. 5x minus 5x eliminates, and then we've got, what is this? 2x minus 5x is -3x equals 6. Okay. Now, mom and dad only have one chart for you. It's being multiplied by -3. So we're going to do the opposite operations backwards and divide both sides by -3. Divide by -3. And x equals -2. Now I'm going to check this answer in just a little bit, but I wanted to show you there's a different way to solve this. Let's say you didn't want to send dad to the other room. Maybe you wanted to send mom. Let me change colors. Okay, if we want to send mom into this room, she's a positive 2x right now. So we need her to have a change of heart, which means she's got to get negative, and we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. Now let's be very careful here, because it's really common, like something that I see a ton as a teacher, is I will see kids do, like, say, cross that out, and then they'll be like, cool, this is 3x, and we still have a 6, and kids will like move the equal sign magically and say 3x equals 6. Well, if I divide both sides by 3, then x equals +2. That's a different answer than we had before. And so we got to be really careful with our equal sign. So if I'm really going to subtract 2x from both sides, I need to show that this room is empty. 2x minus 2x is 0. Nothing's in that room. I'm going to put a 0. 0 is a real number. It has feelings. Don't ever forget about it. Then we have 5x minus 2x is 3x plus 6. Now there's only one x. Mom and dad came together into the same room, so we have a we have a chore that we can do. x times 3 plus 6 is what they're asking us to do. We're going to rebel like teenagers, and we're going to start by subtracting 6 from both sides of the equation, even the empty room. 0 minus 6x is negative 6 equals 3x. And then we're going to divide both sides by 3. And we're going to get negative 2 equals x. Same answer we had before. So in a way, I kind of checked my answer by doing it in a different way and getting the same answer. But let's check it the formal way. I'm going to substitute a negative 2 in for those x's. So I'm going to have 2 times negative 2 on this side equals 5 times negative 2 plus 6. Okay? 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 plus 6. And you could double check me, but negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4. So we found the magical x number that makes both sides of that equation the same. So negative 2 was my answer. It's so exciting. I'm going to clear my throat and get excited. All right, next question. Now this one is kind of similar, but because this is such a tough idea to get your head around, we're going to go ahead and do a very similar example right here. Okay, so I always draw my force field, and that especially helps remind me I cannot combine x's past that force field. I can't. Don't put them together. They don't belong together. Mom and dad are in a fight. They're just going to clash if we do that. So don't do it. All right. So instead, what I like to do is I like to think, okay, I got to move mom into this room or move dad into this room. I'm going to move dad because I wanted to point out right now he is a negative 5x. It might help you anytime I see an x with a negative coefficient that's being subtracted, I will almost always change that to say plus a negative. It helps my brain work better. When I see a minus coefficient x, I change that to say plus a negative. Okay, so same idea. I can't really fill out my chore chart yet because there's 2 x's. Mom and dad are in different rooms. We could either move mom by subtracting 2x from both sides, or we can move dad by adding 5x to both sides. Let's go ahead and add 5x to both sides. He's going to have a change of heart. Bring him over here. And 2x plus 5x is 7x equals 6, because these are going to cancel out. All right, x is being multiplied by 7, and that's it. That's the only chore we have. So we're going to go ahead and do the opposite operation backwards. We're going to divide both sides by 7, and x equals, go ahead and type that in your calculator. I'm going to do that too. So 6 divided by 7 is this really ugly fraction, but I'm going to push math, enter, enter, and oh, nice. 6 divided by 7 is 6/7. That is the same thing. 6 divided by 7, 6/7, same thing. Now, you might not believe that that's the right answer, but I'm going to prove to you that it is. So I'm going to go ahead and write this down over here. And let's go ahead and check our answer just to be extra safe. And sure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and this is going to get tricky. Use a calculator as much as possible. I'm just going to show you that you could do this without a calculator. So I'm going to replace the x with 6/7 equals 6 minus 5 times 6/7. Feel free to use a calculator. Just remember, on our graphing calculators, anytime you type a fraction with stuff, use parentheses. So like if I was typing this and I would type 2 times parentheses 6 divided by 7 parentheses and push enter, it'll give you a decimal. Push math, enter, enter to turn it into a fraction, and you should get 12/7 on this side. Okay, you're welcome to type in 6 minus 5 times parentheses 6/7 parentheses, but I'm just going to do it by hand really fast. So this is going to be 6 minus 30/7. And just getting a little advanced. Don't sweat this too much. I want to subtract these, so I need a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom of this fraction by 7. So this is going to be 42 sevenths. Again, do this in your calculator if you need. But 42 minus 30, that's going to be negative 12. Am I doing this right? Oh, no, not negative 12. Sorry, that's just regular 12. 42 minus 30 is 12 sevenths. If I have 42 sevenths and I take away 30 sevenths, I've got 12 sevenths left over. And boy, howdy, that is the same thing on this side. So I know that 6 sevenths was the right answer. We're awesome. Okay, so 6 sevenths was the right answer. That was your example here. So the big hint is if you have a variable and a minus sign before it, change that to say plus and negative. It will help out a lot. Also, fractions, totally possible. Those could show up on your assignment. All right, last thing is I want to give you a hint on level 4. So just kind of an example here. Imagine you have 8 horses. We're going to use the variable h. And your friend has 5 horses. And altogether, they're worth $1,800. Okay? Then we could set up an equation like that. Okay, I have 8 horses. And that usually means plus. My friend has 5 horses. And altogether, that's going to equal $1,800. So that's kind of how I would read that story and set up an equation. It's your job to figure out how to solve that. It looks like we have 2 H's. Mom and dad are in the same room, and you can go from there. All right, that was your level 4 hint, and hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Thank you for watching. Good luck on your assignment, and we will see you for 2.4, where things are going to start to get pretty tough. I think you're going to really like those chord charts. Oh, man, especially for 2.5. Okay, that's your video. Have a good night. Talk to you later. Bye.